do adopt the technology, you can see it very quickly. You can see that there is a tipping point where that accelerates here as well. And so I would have to think that with some of our research and what we write about this, right? When the Nordics adopt something, I would think that that would be something that the rest of Europe, takes a look at and says, almost as a validation of a particular technology, that if they're adopting it in that region, then it's something that I want to look at as well. So I think it's very powerful, the amount of influence I think this region has on technology adoption.
Yeah, I think that's I can prove that with one little anecdote. Very open conversation here. We had actually, what is this Saudi Arabia of Nordics? Norway, right? 4 million people producing 98% of the oil in Europe. It's fantastic. So actually we had Statoil, the state-owned, also partial private oil company, came to Bay Area. It was very interesting. Their CIO, very smart lady, the CTO, the entire executive team. The CEO and the board basically sent the technology team and some of the business owners from Statoil to Bay Area, to Silicon Valley, to meet with all the high-tech companies. And one of them was actually Nexenta. They met with us. They heard about Nexenta. They came all the way to talk about software-defined infrastructures for oil and gas. And they want to run their oil platforms more efficiently from a technology perspective, and they manage the risk better because they do a lot of research data. To your point, that was interesting because in oil and gas, we get more interest from Europe and Middle East and Asia than sometimes than US companies. So I totally agree with things that you're talking about is actually firsthand. Going back to a few things that we heard over the past few months from the customers, just wanted to pass those by you. And again, truly, we never rehearse these things, it's just an open conversation, very ad hoc. We are hearing from a storage trends perspective, tying back to that business model Simon and also Donna you talked about. We hear a lot of convergence for the data center. We hear a lot about hybrid systems. And we hear obviously open source and software defined, so to speak, as the leading trends. And one of the areas coming up lately is also the intelligence. The not necessarily like I don't want to just say the big data concept. I think for 51 research talk about the total data concept. So what do you think about these trends and some of these trends that we're hearing? Are they real? Are they changing beyond its private or public cloud? Can you talk to us about from a technology trends perspective within storage?
Yeah, so I think some of these things, so I think all of them are real. They're just to different degrees. I think the convergence trend, I think, is absolutely real, and I think that is particularly exciting. We speak to a couple of thousand IT organisations every year. We do a survey. We do actually do interviews with them. It's not kind of online surveys. It's us talking on them to IT decision makers, asking them about their perspectives, their plans, their spending intentions across a whole set of capabilities, across storage, servers, networking, virtualization, cloud. And what they're telling us is, what they've told us over the last 2 to 3 years is that convergence makes an awful lot of sense to them. In the past there was this kind of this assumption, this trade-off, that the trade-off was worth making, that it's worth investing in having best-of-breed capabilities at every layer in the stack, at the server layer, at the storage layer, at the networking layer, and the kind of industry was aligned around that. They were kind of happy for that to happen. I'd buy my servers from my server vendor, I'd buy my storage from my storage vendor, I'd buy my networking equipment from my networking vendor. I got best-of-breed choice at every single layer, and that kind of flexibility was more than enough to offset the effort I had to spend in stitching all of those elements together. What we saw is two things. Virtualization came along, changed the game. Why? Because suddenly the kind of physical connection between the application, the server, the operating system, and the physical infrastructure was completely blown apart. You've got this layer of abstraction, and organizations went through this server consolidation program and found that many of the savings they made on the server side, they're actually spending on upgrading the storage, because server virtualization, VDI especially, breaks traditional storage. So it needs a different way to think about storage. So that kind of really changed the game. So I think